M.O.D.O.K, he's coming at you like M.O.D.O.K. Are you ready to paint M.O.D.O.K? He's the coolest guy with the biggest head in the whole wide world, yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello everyone. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today we are going to be painting up M.O.D.O.K. If I remember correctly, BK put up a poll asking who you would like to see updated with a paint job or tweaked with a paint job or just plain painted. And M.O.D.O.K won out, just as usual, just blew out the rest of the competition. So we're going to be painting up M.O.D.O.K. Now, if you've been watching us for a while, I actually started painting a M.O.D.O.K a while back and got pretty far and ended up with some little hearts on his head. I want to finish him. I think this is a great opportunity. Like, we can take our idea and what we were doing and we can update it and finish up our M.O.D.O.K. So I'm going to kick it over to the Minicam. I gotta look over this way to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go like that. And there's our Minicam. And I'm going to swizzle my light because I need a lot of light because I like to paint with a ton of light. There it comes on. Boop. Let me get my screen so I can see all the wonderful chat comments, hanging out in chat, talking about that chat. So you can see here I got to work on this M.O.D.O.K. I got purples and the gold on his arms and his legs. Didn't quite finish. I feel that gold is pretty finished. I think I'm pretty happy with the gold actually. But I think we need to finish the eyes, the teeth, and the special effects, and possibly the hair. It looks like where we kind of left off. I don't even remember where we left off. It's been so long. I'm kind of just grabbed him up this morning and threw him on the pedestal and didn't even look and see where we were at with him, because I was just like, you know what? We're just gonna go. We're just gonna make it up. I was looking for Hold Your Blue, and I don't see it. So I guess I'll use Abyssal Blue. Me singing. I went to karaoke the other night. It was rad. I got invited back. What kind of questions you got here? I'm mixing up my color. Abyssal Blue is not going to work for me. I need the Holdra. I'm not seeing the Holdra in the pile of paints. If anybody took my Holdra, there it is. Yep. Our Thursday stream got annihilated by the weather. We had, I definitely lost power, and all of Seattle kind of had some power and internet issues. So sorry about Thursday stream. Jimmy the Hand 33. I love the M.O.D.O.K miniature myself. I think M.O.D.O.K is one of those characters that has such a bizarre design, and I think that to me is like the coolest part. Like, the design is so out there and so unique that it really stands out in the pantheon of Marvel characters, and I just find that fascinating. I think it's just so wacky. It just works, and that's one of the reasons I've always kind of loved M.O.D.O.K as a character. It's like, it's just such a unique design in comics. It's not what you expect. It's far beyond that, and I think that's what makes it really, really cool. I'm actually going to darken this up. Let's darken it up. We're still in the quote spooky season, and I want to make this a little different. We're a long ways away. I think I painted this up as like an example on how to paint the studio color scheme, but you know what? Let's just get in there and do something a little different. I want to darken this up. Hold your blue thing with on there. Just darken it up. I got some artist acrylics, titanium white and some black, and we're just going to use those to like make our colors work. What do we got here? Yeah, the old school Jack Kirby designs, like some of them are just so bonkers. Like you kind of just gotta respect the madness of them. Like just roll with the ridiculousness and just kind of accept it, and it makes these characters way more fun than just, you know, oh, another super in capes and a tight, right? It's these are the characters that I think help for me really define what comics can be. You know, they can just be an unlimited palette for the imagination. These characters like, you know, M.O.D.O.K and, you know, even Galactus, right? The Celestials, the Watcher, they're just big, bonker concept designs, and you just kind of gotta love them for that. So I really want to darken this up. We're gonna make this M.O.D.O.K different than the other M.O.D.O.Ks that we have laying around here. Don't get it on the skin. You can see he's got little hearts in his headband. I don't remember, this got voted on. For some reason, hearts won. Was anybody here for that stream? Oh, guest 42 says, love the bullseye changes. Yeah, there's a new article up. If you haven't seen, there's an article up over Atomic Mass. And we're working on that new website. It's going to be great. And you can see the article has some criminal syndicate changes. Got some changes to M.O.D.O.K to bring him more in line with other 5 threats. Kingpin, Green Goblin, which I love the Green Goblin changes, and Bullseye. I love the Bullseye changes. I think it's fun that he's now a 2 threat, and I think that adds some flexibility in roster build. Darken those fingers. Yeah, I kind of like this blacker metal. These gold elements. I think we're going to go in here and do some the insets of the chair, the Doomsday chair. Just add some interest and visual contrast. So it's not all equitable. What do we got going on in chat? Oh, there's the schedule. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Atomic Mass is putting that up in there. Oh, a new website's going to have a calendar, yeah. So you can see what's coming up. Stay abreast of the new and exciting information coming out of Atomic Mass Games. I think if you watch Thursday, you're going to get some in-depth conversations with. Oh, maybe I don't remember who's playing Thursday. I might be wrong on that. We try to have the conversations live. It's more, we're here with the community and talking about it. Oh, a little wash on there. I just want to darken up a couple areas, create some visual contrast. With this lovely, lovely blue-black I made. Alright, we got a little heart in his headband. What should we put in there instead? Let's get rid of the hearts. Let's go with something else here. Talk to me. Talk it out, folks. What do we got here? Dun, 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 dun. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if Winter Soldier is in the updates. I believe he is. That's the development side. I'm in the studio side. Let's put some little lights here. We're just going to use some off-white to indicate some lights. We'll use a color later. We'll choose a color for those in a bit. All right, what do we got here? I do walk into actually I do go to occasional dev meetings. It's true. But I can't keep track of everything. It's impossible. Rules are always changing, so I have a hard time keeping track of all the rules changes. I'm mainly there for flavor and stuff like that. All right, we're gonna add some brown and some off-white. I'm gonna paint these teeth. I'm just gonna lay a base coat on that. And then here in a little bit, I might go back and do like a overall 2-brush over the whole thing and then a wash. I'll leave a little bit of that space between, or not. Just boffed it. Sometimes that happens. You could just paint the whole mouth the one color and just use washes. I like leaving that little space between to go ahead and start building in my contrast. Just like that. It can be a little sketchy. Doesn't gotta be perfect right now. We'll refine it here in a bit. All right. Did we discuss what color we're going to do as in energies? Quill Starian. I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know if there'll be surprises or not. There's more changes coming, I believe. They're going to be exciting. What color are we doing as energy? I'm thinking red. Reddish yellow. We'll start working that up as we go along. Nothing says doomsday chair like some hot yellow energy. All right, let's paint in some pupils. Well, we're going to do the whole iris. We're just going to slowly work that in. Oh, black. Nice big eyes. Go ahead and thin that paint just a little bit. Remember, take a breath and breathe out to do the detail. Still a little bit of a line. Divide the flesh from the sclera. I think that one, his right pupil needs to be slightly bigger. Something like that. Get a little darker under there to increase the drama. Okay. Now we need a little add a little off-white to our holder blue. We're going to give him bright blue eyes. Yeah, light gray base coat with accent flare glare. That's a really good way to do Modoc as well. Like just powered up eyes works. We might as well have fun. We might as well get in there and have a little fun. Let's keep adding some white to the blue. M.O.D.O.K was the very first miniature you ever painted. That's amazing. I'd love to see that. How'd it turn out? I bet it's great. All right, now we need to put the pupils back in. This is a big miniature to start with, but that's okay. We all start somewhere. We all start somewhere. And you learn and you grow. You try, you fail, you pick up new skills. Remember, we're all on different points of the same path. So it's not about comparing your painting to mine or someone else's. It's all about comparing it to the last thing you painted. And sometimes it's just about the journey. Jimmy the Hand 33, love the look of the sculpts for the M.O.D.O.K Spidey set. Do you have plans on exploring more iconic pairings in the future? I'd love to see Hulk versus Wolverine pack with a dynamic fight pose. Oh man, Hulk versus Wolverine epic fight. First off, Incredible Hulk 181, classic issue. You never know what the future is going to hold, but I definitely think it's something we want to explore more of. And, you know, it might not even be done the same way. Who knows? I mean, I know, but rah. Yeah, we don't talk about unreleased stuff, but we like talking about stuff. There's lots of great rivals and team ups, and I will say I don't even think if I remember correctly, I don't even think Spidey and M.O.D.O.K were the first we thought of to do that. Fun fact. All right. Still a little brown, and I think I got some green laying around here. So I'm going to wash on those teeth. I'm going to use my second brush to pull it out away from the surface. We're just going to start toning those teeth down. What colors did I use for the chair? It's just a collection of different golds. And then I used some browns and sanguine tones down into the shadows. So this is starting to look like a weird shape. Let's accentuate it. Anytime I start seeing weird shapes in special effects, I start accentuating it. I think we've painted miniatures from every one of our game lines. Actually, I know that's true. Our boy BK posted earlier what days you can catch those game lines on Twitch. And push the red just a little bit. Once again, just accentuate those weird shapes already apparent in the paint. And go back to some very, very white yellow. Just go back, pick out those colors, pick out those shapes. Yeah, a little more red. We're just going to come in with some red right. Just to give it that full on. This is like a fire truck red. And, you know, this is a very, very primary red. It's got the energy from the cosmos. Greg Zorba stream started at 1 p.m. every day. Well, not every day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can watch our streams here on Twitch. They always start at 1 or just about 1. You know, sometimes there's technical concerns or issues. But we strive for 1 o'clock. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And usually Thursday is a game. If you're interested in that. We rotate our games. Because we only have one day we can really get together and play games in the studio, so we choose Thursday. So we kind of rotate through. I want his teeth to be kind of a little manky. Yeah. All right, let's get a big brush. Let's take some off-white. And a little touch of black. I'm going to dap the tops of the clouds. Thanks for joining on the stream today. We endeavor to be interactive and hang out with the community. Chat, talk about what we can talk about. Ask questions, answer questions. That's the stream we should do. I ask you questions. What is the typical brush size I use when painting? I tend to use everything from a size 1 to 5. And even that's just like, sometimes I don't even know what I had to look. I had no idea what size brush I was even using just now painting those eyes. Apparently I was using a size 2. To paint everything today. It doesn't really matter to me too much. As long as it's got a good tip and a big belly, it's the kind of brush I like. But the tip matters the most. And the belly for me. So it could be a size 18 if it's got a good tip, I'll use it. So I don't get too overly worried about my brush size. So I just kind of use kind of whatever. Sometimes I even use crappy brushes and junk brushes. We're just kind of gesturing here. We're just kind of blocking in some emotional kind of smoke, spootions, some splusions. I'll let that dry a little bit. Jimmy the Hand wants to see love given to the bass. Did you watch my basing stream that we did over Mini Stravaganza? If not, you missed out. We did a whole hour on doing alternate basses. They went alternate. If you want painting, we could do painting of basses. I'm down for that. I'm sure I could talk to BK about doing some bass painting videos. I'm going to use color to dark line. Kind of separate that face from the gold just ever so slightly. Don't do that. Don't do that. I can use that second brush to drag that paint right where I want it. Okay. I need some dark brown. We only got 10 minutes left. Yeah, there was we did a basing stream. Also, if you check out Mini Stravaganza, we do talk about engineering a lot during Mini Stravaganza because we can hijack Marco and make Marco talk on stream about engineering. I'm happy to answer what I can about engineering. I'm not an engineer, but I work very closely with that team, and that is literally my team that works under me. So I'm always happy to discuss engineering. It's a very fascinating part of the job. And probably nothing like you think and nothing like you expect that job to be. But like everything is, you know, when you're working with an IP, you have to work with the design of the character, right? So Spider-Man's costume is Spider-Man's costume. I can't get rid of parts of the costume that, say, are troublesome for engineers, right? You know, if you're working on your, say, your own IP, and you could be like, well, what do you think of this? And the engineers would be like, well, that's a pain. And be like, okay, well, redesign it, make it work, make it easier, and then we'll just change that up. You know, when you work with an IP, you got to maintain the IP. So that's the very first thing the engineers have to learn to work with, right? Is they're working with that IP, they're working with that look of the characters. And so then you have to look at draft angles, because everything for making a hard plastic miniature, and you can talk about soft plastic, hard plastic, metal, and resin. They all have similar aspects, but they are all completely and uniquely different at the same time. Mainly when it gets to draft angles, undercuts, and stuff like that, in hard plastic, your tolerances are very, very minimal. You have just so little tolerance in what an undercut can be. So what the engineers do, they have a program, and actually when you start to do this, you can actually start to learn to see it with your eyes as well. They're looking for the draft angles, you know. They're looking for how that plastic is going to pop out of a solid steel mold. And sometimes it's not as easy to tell, right? Like something like Venom's hand, Venom's knuckle, or Star-Lord's head, is uniquely 4 pieces. And you can look at that and be like, well, yeah, that's Star-Lord's head, but what you don't see is what that looked like if it was 1 piece. It wouldn't look the same. Those parts would look totally different if we left that as 1 piece. Same way with like Venom's knuckles. Like, if you look at Venom's knuckles, you're like, well, I can't see why this was done this way. Until you put them all together, those 2 pieces together, or maybe even 3 pieces together, and then you can see the draft angles or where the draft would have failed on you. You know what I mean? Engineers, Crystal, Iron Fist, Lizard. Yeah, Jezza. The alternate placement points. That's my favorite part that's actually my favorite part of my job is designing the miniatures and the poses, and trying to sometimes, you don't want to do it on every character, but when it makes sense, coming up with like those alternate and unique placement points and design philosophies in miniature to make it more unique. You know, and sometimes it's just about like looking at the character, looking at the superpowers, looking at the personality that you're trying to capture, right? I mean, we could have very easily done a different crystal that would have been just as cool that was trying to portray a different side of crystal. But once you start breaking it down and you just start looking at like, well, and that's the one thing that hard plastic is really good at, is providing those opportunities to do more unique poses. And it's nice, you know, you want to take advantage of that, you know. You want to take advantage of your material. So it's a lot of fun. I love coming up with those weird alternate like ways to build the miniature and have it look like it's suspended or look like it's floating or look like it's leaping. So I can't really talk about the process like that. Jimmy, we definitely we come up with our list and we discuss it with Marvel and stuff like that. Just adding a lot of texture in the teeth. He has such big teeth. I want to kind of show some texture. He doesn't have perfectly smooth pearlies. Let's add some texture in the hair. It's always fun coming up with a wacky pose and kind of take it to Marco or Evan or Bexley, and you're just like, what do you think of this? And they're like, oh, and then they're like, oh yeah, that could work. Oh, what if we did this? It's like, yeah. All right, we're just using some very light brown to add some striations in the hair. Clear plastics is something we are still exploring. It's not as cut and dry as you might think. But you never know. I think if there's a use for it, I think you'll see it. But if it's, everything has to. I like to look at everything as like, what's the best choice for this project? Not let's just do this because we have it. It's like alternate parts for characters. If it makes sense, then I think you'll see it. If it's just there to just do it, I don't think you will. And also you have to be careful with alternate parts. A lot of times if, like let's say you have a blaster rifle and a blaster pistol, right? You kind of have different body language for those. So being able to build both with the same body, you kind of have to weaken the pose slightly to accommodate both, right? You don't get a really strong blaster rifle pose if you have to also be holding a blaster pistol, right? They're different body languages, and they're different. You're using different muscle groups and stuff like that. So I would never want to weaken a pose just to have options. I'd rather have one really, really good pose than two weaker ones just to accommodate an option. So you have to take a bunch of things into consideration. I like that here. Putting Ghost Rider on a bike, Straker, no, I don't know what you mean by putting Ghost Rider on the bike. I think my M.O.D.O.K is almost done. I think he just needs a little. He needs a little orange cloud going on down here. So we're going to start blending that in. But I think this fella, that paint's too watery. That's not what I want out of my paint. A little bit orange, a little bit white. Start coming in, just spackling the underside of the clouds. Yeah. Magic pose with a sword. Yeah. Magic is one of. I just love that character, and once I saw that design doc, and it was just like, we're doing Magic, and I was super excited, and I immediately set forth in picking a pose. She actually went through a couple iterations. The leaping out was not the initial one, so she kind of went through a few iterations. As with many characters go through a couple iterations. Sometimes you just like draw something and everybody in the studios is like, that's the one, and you ship it. Yeah, it's great. Sometimes you go and you're like, well, that's kind of it, but kind of not. So you just keep exploring and diving into poses and researching and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, but eventually you just kind of land on something and make it work. And that Magic pose was super fun to get to. And then figuring out how to make the connection and all that stuff. There's just so much going into those kind of things. But I really wanted to capture that like badassness of that character and really have that Buster style, that big hunk of sword just prominent. I'm calling my M.O.D.O.K done, plus it's 202. All right. So I think all in all, we did pretty good for an hour. We painted some detailed eyes, some teeth, added the glow. We blackened up the purple areas, and I think that adds some nice drama and contrast to the overall scheme of it. I think he still needs to be highlighted just ever so slightly. Like, I mean, if you're really getting saucy, you could come in with some really, really bright highlights just to get, and then you could give that like skin like texture. But all in all, I think I'm pretty happy with this Modoc that we started like 2 years ago, and we basically finished today. I'm pretty happy with it. So remember, join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm gonna pretend like M.O.D.O.K is talking. Pacific Standard Time for Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Tomorrow it'll be, I believe, Pagani is joining me. We'll be doing some painting. And on Thursday, there will be a gameplay session, and you should check that out tomorrow or Thursday because it's going to be pretty dope. So until next time, we'll talk to you later, and go and be the hero you can be. Goodbye, everybody.